So, I've got a bit of a problem, and to tell you the truth is I've temporarily lost my art style. Like, what exactly is this? Hello everyone, it is Limey and thank you for clicking this video. I deeply apologize for that horrible introduction. I'm never doing that again. But either ways, not that I'm hating on my new art style or anything, it's just that when I flipped through my old sketchbook, I noticed that I used to draw way differently and way better than how I draw now. And it's bothering me like a lot. And to explain my whole situation, I'm guessing the reason for that temporary downgrade is because, well, of schoolwork. Not that school is a bad thing, it's just that last year I had terrible time management. A typical day in my life will just me stressing about schoolwork and assignments, sleeping, waking up, and stressing all over again. So I barely had the time to draw. And because of that, I guess my muscle memory and creative confidence just sort of like ditched me completely. Next thing, I draw like this. So for this year, not that I'm done with school or anything, no. I decided to like change a little bit and put more effort in drawing as a hobby. Not that I'll have to put more effort in it than schoolwork, but I'll just try to make time for it. Even if it's to draw for 15 minutes a day, at least I'll still improve my skills and build consistency, doing all that without feeling so overwhelmed. Now, for the main purpose of this video about my art style, I've done some research and watched tons and tons of videos on how to develop an art style until I stumbled on this video by Draw Like a Star, which made a lot of sense from my side at least. However, I didn't go through the entire video, but I did take note of his first 3 steps, and we are going to fill a sketchbook spread while following those steps. The first thing that he suggested is to just draw a plain face. I know it may sound boring to you guys, but apparently it is very helpful, and it has a lot of benefits in helping you build strong fundamentals and to naturally develop your unique art style. I, for one, am just so used to using references from Pinterest, and trust me, drawing from imagination can really be tough. But you can overcome that difficulty by practicing a lot, or you just have to have a good memory, I guess. So as you can tell from my sketchbook page, the outlines from the earlier drawings are showing since the marker bled through. But I draw on these pages because I know for a fact that if I skip them, I'm literally just not going to go back and complete those 2 pages at all. So in this case, I use sticky notes, colored papers, blank papers, or any other kind of paper just to like paste it and cover up these marker bleed-throughs. After pasting this sticky note, for my drawing process, I use the same old technique of starting with a circle and 2 lines. Though I've never changed my technique ever since I've learned it. I mean, it's a technique that almost all the artists use. Duh. So as for the plain face, it's funny how I never had anything in mind to begin with. I just started scribbling until it just sort of morphed into a male face, and at the time, I just went along with it. Hair has always been tough to draw for me, and it never flows right. Either it's not smooth or silky, or it's just way too stiff for my liking. But for this guy, I just decided to go with the typical hairstyle, and it is what I call the K-pop hair. I hope you don't judge me, but I usually see a lot of K-pop artists having this kind of hairstyle. Now that I finished with a plain face, which happened to be a random guy, I was glad that I could see pieces of my art style, like the same old rectangular eyes that I picked up along my art journey. What confused me at the time was whether I drew this from muscle memory or because I was flipping through my sketchbook before recording this entire video. This part of the page felt empty and thought that another drawing of a plain face would look good, and thus I drew a woman. And as I have mentioned earlier, drawing her isn't my strongest skill. However, I prioritize learning something new every day, especially in areas where I am weak at. The plain faces were not so disappointing as I expected them to be, and I thought that I would draw the way I did before with those other two drawings I showed you guys from the first video, but we'll move on from that for now. And we jump to the second point, and that is getting influence from other artists. Now let's talk a little bit about that point. I've got a lot of artists that I genuinely like and follow on Instagram, and it would be a lie to say the least that I've made up my own art style. But in reality, I've got some influence from many artists out there, and these include Isha, Lenie, Gretel Lusky, Gabriela Nico, and many more. Now let's do some real talk. I like my art style and it's not too bad, but then I'm just not fond of it in the long run. Okay, let me try to rephrase that for better context. I like the way I draw, and my art style is fine, yeah, but I know for a fact that I can improve in order to get the desired art style that I've always wanted. Or just to put it in simple terms, I know that I can amplify my art and it can be way better than how I draw right now. I'm not saying this to discourage anyone, but then wanting to learn how to draw differently than how you draw right now is actually a choice, and you're free to do it any way you want. But if you're completely satisfied with the way you draw, then that is totally okay. I did mention some of my favorite artists, but there's this one specific technique that I wish I knew, and it's something very similar to this. This is the art of Gabriela Nico, and I am so totally in love with the way she draws, like the way she uses her color pencils. I have a lot of color pencils, and I hardly ever use them because cough cough, I don't know how to. But it will not stop me from learning. After searching relentlessly online, I found a post of hers that shows a detailed, not too detailed, but it shows a detailed process on how to use her technique. And oh boy, disclaimer, this will be the most horrifying art piece you'll ever watch. Viewers' discretion is advised. Here are a bunch of blues, and in case if you are wondering, wait, why blue? Because her first step is choose a base color for the sketch. And she chose sky blue, so I also decided to choose blue too. Oh, and here is the reference that I'm going to use. I was just swatching out my colors, my blue colors, to see which one was so ideal. I preferred the first one because it actually made a perfect base sketch. Once I finished this whole swatching thing, I didn't really want to do the drawing in my sketchbook since I wouldn't be able to freely move my hand around that much. And as a bonus, I thought that maybe drawing it on a piece of paper would make everything so clear for you guys to see the entire process.
This was the easiest part, and trust me, it got harder as I advanced through the steps. Even jumped a few because I literally didn't understand them. As for step 2, it says add a thin soft skin wash. For Gabriela Nico, she used an even wash of salmon pink. Because I didn't have that, I used this kind of peach instead. Apparently all you had to do was add it all over the face and neck to set the temperature of the skin, and While adding the soft skin wash, it took me a while to realize that the entire sketch was just a big mistake from the start, simply because I was using the wrong color for the base. So if you look closely at the reference, it has a warm tone of orange, and for some reason, just because Gabby used blue, I also decided to use blue. But what I completely ignored was the part which stated that you can use any color for the base. So I guess next time. Here I have a sky blue again, simply because of step 3, which said that add a soft skin wash. I didn't understand that part and why it was just the same as step 2, but what she did was use the same sky blue to mark the lid area. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the part where I genuinely got lost. Like, I just decided to do my own thing. I just dropped the rules and colored what I could see from the art and the reference. In case you're wondering what the pink was doing here, I didn't know. I just saw it in her art and thought, why not? Using a soft shade of blue for the hair was one of my biggest mistakes ever, but as Barbara said, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. After going through all that pain, I decided to cut it out because of my weird belief that every drawing should just end up in my sketchbook. But then after stirring it for a while, I noticed how plain it looked. To make it less plain and boring, I grabbed my orange highlighter to make it more vibrant and add a pop of color to the page. Then on the left side of the page, if you zoom in closely, you'll see a faint blue sketch. That was actually supposed to be the main sketch for today, but as I mentioned earlier, doing it on a blank paper felt more appropriate and visible to you guys. Still, I couldn't leave the space empty, so I drew another face from imagination without using any reference at all. When I finished, I looked at the page again and realized that I wasn't completely fond of it. I thought it would look better if I drew over it with a ballpoint pen, and so I just decided that I darkened the outlines with a black pen instead. Let's not forget the main aim of this video, which is trying to regain my art style. And the third point from Draw Like a Star is practice. I'm not going to go overboard explaining everything here. You can check out the video yourself. But while I was darkening the outlines, a thought crossed my mind and wondered, wait, this could actually be my art style developing or perhaps improving. Maybe adding a layer of ink is just my thing, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense because I've always had a soft spot for ballpoint pens, and I love the way my drawings turn out when I use them. So here is the finished sketchbook spread. A mess, honestly. It turned out better than I expected, but I'm not completely satisfied with it. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe for more art content and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future uploads. Also give this video a like and leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching and have a great time. Bye!